set up this room for dinner tonight. They are Bob Minty, Paul Hinman, Terry Walsh, and Keith Johannes. So give them a hand. And we would love for you to help them break down afterward if you're so inclined. We have to stack the chairs back and so forth. And Joel for bringing all the equipment, and Rod for charging it for us and getting it organized. And I want to thank all of you for being here this evening and for bringing the delicious food that we've enjoyed and the fellowship. It's great to have at least 60 people here, and I think a few people walked in after that count. So we're all ready to celebrate Pat at the end of Pat, but present the Pat Plepler Award to Willa and celebrate her award after the business meeting. So to begin the business meeting, I'd like to call it to order, and in doing so, I'd like to introduce some special guests here tonight. And you're all special, but there are some people here that are elected officials, and the first of those that I'd like to introduce is Mayor Deborah Lewis. Deborah, where are you? And would you stand? And on her left is Mayor Pro Tem Paul Wyatt. Paul? And the Arts and Cultural Commission is represented by Nancy Jenkins. Nancy, are you still vice chair? And the South Coast Water District is represented by Wayne Rayfield, President. And Irkina. Supervisor Bartlett's office, the 5th District of Orange County, is represented by Sergio Prince this evening. And we have a film. Are you a producer or a director, Jonathan? All of it. Okay. Jonathan Jenkins is here, and he is a new member, and he created this film on the Time Capsule 50-year celebration, and I wanted to mention that we have some copies of these with us tonight. If you're interested, it is available for $15. If you just paid your dues, you could even exercise your 10% discount. And also a member, but he's the president of the Hovey Memorial Foundation, Robbie Roberson, is here. And then, of course, Willa is our special guest tonight, and she has guests that she will introduce later on this evening. So I would like to call the meeting to order with the reading of the January 20th, 2016 minutes, and Heidi Hyde is our secretary. Heidi?
No.
If you could make yourself heard, yes.
No. Need the mic.
This was the Historical Society annual meeting, January 20th, 2016. The minutes of the January 28th, 2015 meeting were read and approved. Paul Hinman presented the treasurer's report that was in the newsletter. It showed that we ended about where we started fiscally. A committee will conduct the audit. Any member can join the audit committee. Heidi Hyde represented parliamentarian Elizabeth Balmatry, who was absent, to present the nominations for officers to be elected. They were Bob Minty, 3rd Vice President Programs, Nancy Jenkins, Corresponding Secretary, with 1st Vice President Museum Director vacant. The slate of appointed directors was presented. They were Elizabeth Balmatry, Special Events, Judy Henderson, Director Emeritus, Sunshine Ambassador. Terry Walsh, Walking Tours. Rod Haworth, Merchandise. With no nominations from the floor, Heidi made a motion to accept the slates. There was a second and the motion passed. Past President Carlos Canolvera did a brief installation. Barbara Johannes presented the state of the society. Marshall LaRusso announced that dues are now due. Dues are due. Docents are needed at the museum. Barbara thanked the directors who volunteer and members Linda Moore, Mary Crowell, and Robin Vallis for volunteering. The year in review has been presented in the December and January newsletters. Highlights include participation in the 50th anniversary of R.H. Dana School and the purchase of a model of the Pilgrim. 2016 holds promise for the Hovey Memorial Foundation's project. They are fundraising. The Historical Society has pledged $10,000 toward the memorial. We have given $1,000, and the balance will be donated when the site is confirmed. In announcements, Barbara reviewed our upcoming meetings. February 14th meeting in council chambers will be a program by Bob Minty with his collection of scrimshaw. March 5th, 6th, 12th, and 13th will be our participation in the Festival of Wales. We will be in an old fire engine in the parade where there is room for 18 riders. Volunteers for our booth are needed. April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd will be the 2 years before the Mass reading. It will not be part of the Festival of Wales this year. We will be at the Ocean Institute. We have 40 readers so far, but more are needed. B. Reed made a motion to adjourn at 8 p.m. There was a second, and the meeting was adjourned and turned over to Nancy Jenkins to present the Pat Plepler Award to Wayne Mayfield.
Thank you, Heidi. Do I have a motion that the minutes of the 2016 meeting be approved as read?
So moved.
Be moved. And is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you. And it was a good review, and a lot of those things are coming up again. The financial report, Paul Hinman, treasurer. And while Paul is coming up here, I have to say that we've really appreciated his 2 years as treasurer. He is an outgoing officer. He has given the excuse that he wants to travel, and he's spending time in Montana. Now, who goes to Montana January 30th? The Hinmans do.
Well, as treasurer, I'd like to say it's been a very good year. I didn't get indicted. Not yet. Our expenditures for 2016 were approximately $34,000. Our income during 2016 was somewhat above average, being approximately $40,000. This leaves a positive balance for the year of $6,000. Our working balance, exclusive of project reserve funds of $15,000, is approximately $43,000. And we have emergency reserves of approximately $20,000 in short-term CDs. So I believe we continue to maintain a healthy financial situation. This past week, a subcommittee audited the books, and if anybody wants more detail, you can make an appointment, and we'll be happy to go through the financials in detail. Otherwise, that's it.
Paul, back here, please. So, as I said, Paul's leaving. He's promised to be on the financial committee, right? And so he'll continue to oversee. Now, this is just a little token to remind you when you're in Montana that we miss you. And there's 2 kinds of hot chocolate in there, so that you can keep warm in Montana. Right. Or hot milk for these guys. Okay, thanks, Paul. Do I need a motion Do I need a motion, where's my parliamentarian? He's on the stage right now, to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Joel has moved that we accept Paul's treasurer's report. Is there a second?
I second it.
Bruce, Bruce and Rod are seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Same sign. The treasurer's report for 2016 is accepted. The nominating report. Joel Bishop is standing in for parliamentarian Elizabeth Bamatri, who again is in England at this time. So Joel is going to read the slate.
Thank you. The nominating committee has prepared a slate of candidates for the officers of the board, consisting of Barbara Johannes for president, Marcia LaRusso for second vice president membership, Heidi Hyde, recording secretary, Kat Wallace, treasurer, and Joel Bishop as parliamentarian. Are there any nominations from the floor from people who have given the permission to be nominated? Seeing none, we will close nominations.
And then all those in favor as the slate that was presented by Joel. Well, first of all, you're proposing that we accept this slate as it is, correct? So I need a second to that motion.
I second.
Nancy seconds, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So the slate is passed.
Yay! It's an outstanding group, and they put a lot of effort into this organization. Now I'd like to read the board-appointed committee chairs for confirmation, and they consist of Bruce Beal, Ocean Heritage Projects, Joel Bishop as Public Relations and Technology, Max Brown, Newsletter and Web Editor, Sandy Iverson, Photos, Keith Johannes as Preservation, Kristen Reynolds as Exhibits. We'd like to move the election of the appointed chairs.
Is there a second?
Second.
Wayne Rayfield seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And then we all need to, the new officers need to be installed, is that correct? And Mary Carl's going to do that. So I need the officers, the new officers. Do we also have the appointed officers come up as well, the new appointed officers? Okay, so would you all come up? That would be Marcia LaRusso, Heidi Hyde, Kat Wallace, Joel Bishop, and Joel serves in 2 capacities, Bruce Beal, Max Brown, Sandy Iverson, Keith Johannes. Kirsten Reynolds is absent, unfortunately. She's a new toe. Okay. Mary?
As former president. This side.
And then we'll have a big applause.
That's right.
Everybody ready? We're ready. Please raise your right hand and respond, I will, to the following question. You're pledging to perform the duties of your office in order to carry out the mission of the Dana Point Historical Society. Will each of you, as a member of the Dana Point Historical Society Board of Directors, promise to perform the duties of your office according to our bylaws? I assume you all have copies. To preserve Dana Point's heritage, its buildings, documents, photos, and artifacts, and to uphold our mission to educate the public about the history of this area. I will. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you, Mary. Mary is past president of the Historical Society, as is Terry Walsh, who is here somewhere. Okay, thank you very much. Well, that was a brief installation, and we appreciate all of our officers, and we, as you saw, some of us are repeats, but Kat Wallace is a brand new treasurer. And Kat, would you please stand? Where are you? Okay, so she's brand new, and we're delighted to have her. So, the state of the Historical Society. You heard Paul say that we're in good shape. I reported in the newsletter, which pretty much goes over all of this, that although we are in good shape, it's good to have reserves because it costs us just to stay in business $1,387 a month. That includes our expenses like insurance and the telephone and the internet and the printing that we do and the events that we have. Oh yeah, and the storage unit is expensive, and like most museums, we have a lot in storage. So, and a lot that needs archived. So your dues are still appreciated very much, and unless you're a life member or a complimentary member because you've done something wonderful for the Historical Society this year, like donate to the 50-year time capsule celebration, then your dues is due. So we appreciate that. And Marcia is our Vice President Membership, and Marcia, where are you?
Right here.
She's right back there. She's the lady that you can give your dues to. Okay, thank you. We always need museum docents, and we are delighted to have too, being a docent. Mary is not only a docent, but she works on our archives when she's there, and she's usually there on Tuesdays. Linda Moore is one of our valuable docents, and Linda's here somewhere. And Robin Valles is not here tonight. I didn't see Robin. But I'm certain Mary or Linda could help train anybody that's interested in being a docent. So please check your newsletters. Max goes to a great deal of work to put that together with articles from all of us. And where is Max right now? He's in the back. And if you're interested in writing an article, a historic article, please let us know. And let's see, the Hobie Memorial Committee update. Bruce is going to give us an update on the Hobie Memorial.
Well, I was going to introduce Robbie.
Well, then come up and introduce him. And Robbie, you better make your way up here while he's introducing you.
Hello. Robbie moved to the area now known as Dana Point in 1951 at the tender age of 1 year old. So in my book, he's a native of Dana Point. Helen Pierce, and I believe she's not here tonight, was his kindergarten teacher. And the Pierce family and the Roberson family went to the same church together. Well, let's see, Robbie started working for Hobie back in 1966 in the surfboard factory. Then he moved to the catamaran factory in 1968. He calls it Hobie's Navy, which was then known as Coast Catamaran Corp. And started out manufacturing the Hobie 14, which is the basis of the statue that's going to be present in Dana Point soon. The Hobie Cat is the largest known sailing vessel sold. Hobie became the largest employer in South Orange County with 700 employees, building 44 catamarans a day. Robbie has worked with Hobie on every boat project he did, and he did a lot of them. Finishing with the Hobie 60 feet catamaran, a personal dream project of Hobie's. This boat's featured in many publications, by the way. He worked on the Hobie 33, which is the only monohull that I believe that Hobie produced. And it's still around, competing and winning races. In fact, Marlene and I raced against someone in Newport Ensenada race, and they were coming out of the harbor when we were going in to the finish line. Robbie established Spartan Marine Corporation in 1985 in Capistrano Beach. Are you the only manufacturer of that boat now? Hobie 33? Okay. His last large project was building 2 75-foot sport fisher boats in the $4 to $5 million range for Titan Marine in San Diego. He has worked with carbon fiber on the T-52 racing sailboats, which are really fast. Now, with respect to sculptures, he's actually worked for metal sculptures in Honolulu, involving a 15-foot high sculpture for a downtown high-rise, plus other metal sculptures in Honolulu. In other words, Robbie Roberson is the perfect man for the Hobie Memorial.
Wow, that's a tough act to follow. Very good. Hello, society members. I'd like to, first of all, thank you guys for the donation to the memorial. It's outstanding. It was a real boost to our project. And I just want to say at this point, we do have a home for it. Tomorrow, the city is putting on a groundbreaking ceremony at Nohini State Beach. And Mayor Pro Tem will be there, I believe. And it's to celebrate the linear park that's going to be by Carl's Jr. In the overpass. I'm just curious if everybody's seen renderings or anything of the park itself. It's going to have, as the main feature, the Hobie Memorial, and then it'll have some other local people that grew up here and that were famous in the surfboard world and the surfing world. They're still alive. You know, I've heard comments of why do we want to do a park for dead surfers, and I guess she just didn't get it. Most of them are still alive. But why Hobie? Why Hobie? You know, that's like saying, why are we celebrating Henry Dana? Okay. Well, first of all, I like to celebrate Helen Pierce. She was my kindergarten teacher. I love her dearly. She's just the most beautiful person. And so back to why Hobie? And this is what at the city council meeting to try to get funds to build it and commit it to us. You know, my point was why Hobie? Why a guy like that? And he's just so instrumental in our town here. Employing people. I mentioned we didn't have any homeless people here because they all had jobs at Hobie Cat, working for Hobie. And but it was about the trades also. Working for Hobie most of my life, it was all about the trades and being a good craftsman. And what's really scary nowadays is the electronic devices that the kids are growing up. You know, and their idea of a new product is a new app or something to go with that electronic device. And so all the trades are being lost. And, you know, this is another reason why I imagine businesses go offshore, because there's nobody here that knows how to work a bandsaw or skill saw or even a hammer anymore. And so they go to these other countries where that's what the people do. They you know, they have the trades there. Our schools are not participating in educating kids or any of the trades, and that's a real detriment. The Historical Society is just the greatest thing I have seen in my living here in Dana Point, and I bring up the Doheny House, which is just my favorite. I mean, I grew up on the Palisades, and I would go by the Doheny House all the time. And that unscrupulous little developer that was trying to talk him into building 4 homes on that one site, he's just, I live in Dana Bluffs now, and there's 2 houses that were built on one lot, and they were built in triangles. So from the street, oh, they just look beautiful. But they come to a point in the back, they've been sold about 5 or 6 times because people finally figured out they got ripped off. And but the Doheny House is just gorgeous. It's just makes me so happy to live here and to be part of the Historical Society. And so I just want to thank you guys for the donation to the memorial. We have a home, and you'll be seeing it in the newspapers coming up. Thank you.
Is this program for the memorial open to the public tomorrow?
If you have a donation, it is. I think it would be, yeah.
Yes, and it is at Doheny State Beach at
11:30.
11:30. Okay, so you've all heard that if you want to go down. It's not going to be across the street where this development is because it's muddy and rainy and so forth, so they're having it over where people won't have to walk in the mud. Great, thank you. So we'll go on. I want to make some announcements that are important. Bruce Beal, I'd like to congratulate him in advance. He is tomorrow night going to be the Dana Point Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. So Bruce, congratulations. On February 22nd, we will have our meeting in the City Council chambers, and John Underwood will be our speaker, and he has applied to the California Humanities for funding to create a documentary on California history as seen by Richard Henry Dana. So when Dana was first here in 1835, and then again when he returned 24 years later, and the changes in California in that time, and how it was sort of an introduction to how California would keep changing and be influenced by our very early history. So that should be an interesting meeting. So put that on your calendar. And you've heard about the Festival of Whales. We need volunteers. We had them last year. We're going to be at the Festival of Whales this year. Max, who is in the back and is our editor, would love to have you volunteer at the booth either March 4th and 5th or March 11th or 12th. You can do one day, you can do 2 days. Willa has always been one of our great volunteers for that, and we have lots of other volunteers too. We need a parade entry this year. For the last 2 years, we've had the California Firemen's Foundation, their fire engines. I'm probably not saying that right. Where's Judy Henderson? Am I saying that? The California Fire Museum, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So what we'd like to do is maybe change it a little bit this year and have some classic or vintage cars or trucks. So if you know anyone with a car or a truck that's restored and they want to show it off, we'd love to have them be a part of our entry in the parade. Yeah, so please let us know about that. We also have walking tours that weekend, the first weekend, the 4th and 5th, and by appointment on the second week. Terry Walsh is chair, and it's really neat for some of our members to go on those walking tours as well, because you may want to take friends or neighbors or visitors from out of town at another time. There will not be a community reading of 2 years before the Mass this year. We're going to take a break and reorganize for the following year. The vertical pole banners that we raised money for and installed on Dana's 200th birthday will be installed in August and September of this year in celebration of his birthday and also the 30th anniversary of the Dana Point Historical Society. We're 30 years old. We began in 1987. Time flies when you're having fun, huh, Bea? And so if you have ideas for a 30th anniversary celebration, we'd like to hear them. For the 25th, we had, let's see, what did we call that, Heidi? Sunset at the Droger, complete with sunset drinks. So we're open to your ideas. And the home tour is a question. Do we have a Woodruff home tour in 2017 or in 2018? 2017 is the 90th anniversary of the first commercial building that went in. It was actually after Woodruff was here, but it was Anna G. Walters who financed the building, and that is now where Coastal Kitchens is. It's the building on the corner of Blue Lantern and PCH, and our preservation committee met with the restoration architect, Carl Iverson, Keith Johannes, and a number of others of us met, and we were thrilled to have that building restored as it is and repurposed as a restaurant. So it was 2018 before the first Woodruff homes and other buildings were finished. And the dilemma is, do we have a 90th anniversary this year or do we wait and have it next year? And we'd like your input on that in the near future, very near future. Or if you have another idea for a home tour. It's a big effort to do our fundraisers, and we want to get a lot of people involved if we can. I think, also we have, I want to mention there's calendars on the table. Did I mention that yet? And there are more. Keith has them. In fact, he has another half a box in the car. So if anybody wants a calendar and they didn't get it, if you notice on the flip side of that, there's an article about the Dana Point Historical Society, and there's also historical photos. Historical photos are one of our best fundraisers after our fundraiser. And this year, we were very fortunate to be asked to be the nonprofit organization that was involved in the Dana Point Harbor 50-year celebration. So I don't know that another one of those is going to come along for a while. It might be another 50 years before the next harbor celebration, but I think in a couple of years they will be creating the new time capsule and celebrating some of the renovations in the harbor. So there will be another party when that happens, maybe not as big a one. And again, I mentioned that these are available if anybody would like to have one, which is the documentary of the 1966 to 2016, 50 years of Dana Point Harbor. And it's called The Rock, the Time Capsule, and the Harbor. Are there any other announcements that we need to make for the good of the society? Nancy?
You mentioned that Bruce was going to get the award for Citizen of the Year tomorrow at the Chamber of Commerce, and we're very fortunate to have half of the team from the Harbor Grill. We have John and Wanda Hicks, and along with Keegan, and they're going to receive the Business of the Year tomorrow.
Thank you. Would the Hicks like to stand so we can all see you? There you are.
Thank you.
And any other business? Then I'm going to ask that we adjourn the meeting so that I can turn the program over to Nancy. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Bruce has moved that the meeting be adjourned. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nancy, you're up.
Thank you, Barbara. It is my pleasure to be here and to share with you all the wonderful things that we know that Willa has done. Willa Porter for the Pat Plepler Award. And what is the Pat Plepler Award? Well, several years ago, we had a woman in town that was a political activist. And she would come up and talk at the city councils. She'd write articles for the newspaper at that time. And she'd always be down at the harbor and Jim Miller's coffee shop, and almost every morning, going around telling everybody about the city. Well, she had a heart attack and passed away down in the harbor at quite an early age. And her family, when they came out and realized that she had such an impact, and so many people in the community knew her, that they donated $10,000 to the Historical Society to perpetuate her name by giving the Pat Plepler Award. And so I think this year is a really exciting year to have Willa Porter receive this award. Willa has pictures up here that you can come see later on. But it was my privilege to talk to Willa and others about her before we did this program. And as I was talking to Willa, I was more in awe as I listened to all of her accomplishments. And finally, at the end, she got very quiet. And after thinking a few minutes, she said, "I think my life has been so fulfilling because I am constantly curious." And so I decided that this word is really the word that I'm going to use to describe Willa and all of her accomplishments. To start off with, the first C up here, we have her curiosity. She's curious about all things. Getting to know Willa first as a person is very important. Then to understand all the nonprofits and all of the activism that she has done. But as a person, all of her accomplishments are very long. It wasn't until now that she has run, this is what I think is so interesting, she has run in the LA 26-mile marathon. But more important for us, can anybody guess how many years do you think she has run in the turkey trot? She has run 26 years in the turkey trot. Now, that's not all. She won first place 3 times. Well, I know. It was in her age bracket. But the most amazing thing was 2 years ago. She finished the turkey trot only 2 weeks after she had a ruptured appendix. And when she went into the hospital that day, as the story goes, she told the doctor, "I can't have my appendix out if I can't be on the turkey trot." And he just kind of looked at her, especially since it was ruptured. Going back even farther, in raising her 5 sons. And we have one son here. Do we have another son?
No, this is my 6th or 7th son.
6th.
Honorary son.
Oh, an honorary son. Okay.
Yeah.
But this allowed her the opportunity to raise goats and to be a beekeeper and to just name few of the endeavors on quite a large piece of property they own. But as their sons grew up and started to leave the home, she grew to a larger venue. So 15 years she spent in exploration of the world. Now, how many people in here take trips? We go places and take trips and so forth. I bet you none of them have done it like Willa has. You know, she didn't go on any Viking cruise and so forth. She went to such places as New Zealand, trekking in Nepal, where it was such joy for her to meet all the children. In Antarctica, with all the penguins. In Rwanda, where she met all the gorillas. And of course, exploring Machu Picchu in Peru. The I is her industriousness. She and her husband were industrious in building the bike path. Did you know? They were the Porter's associates. The bike path that goes to Doheny from San Juan, and then they built the extension that goes into San Juan. It was during this time that Willa began her political interest and career by being the president of the Women's Construction Owners and Executives. In this capacity, she went to Sacramento 2 times a year and once a year to Washington, D.C. to lobby. They knew who she was. Most amazing to me is that she still works in payroll and billing for the department, for the company of Porter Associates daily. So, moving on, we look at all of Willa's accomplishments and all of her community activities. People inspire her to be enthusiastic, she says. Some of them, and probably the very first one, was when she met the gentleman who was the founder of the Lighthouse Association, and she became on the board of directors. Although this is defunct, she still thinks and would go out tomorrow and lobby for a lighthouse if she could. She has supported events, as Barbara has said, for the Historical Society, for the Dana Point 5th Marines, for the Marine Corps League now. She has supported some of the residents who have run for office in Dana Point, and she's worked for registering young voters at the Orange County Fairgrounds because she believes in the young people and we need to get them involved. And maybe I shouldn't say this with a county person here, but she supported Tin Cup, The Time Is Now, which was a countywide ballot to clean up politics by getting signatures to have it placed on the ballot. Understanding the importance for every American citizen to have a voice in local, state, and federal issues. Willa serves and has served on many local initiatives. She was very active. She is very active in the political party, and I guess she won't mind to say that she is the treasurer of the South Orange County Democratic Party. And somebody says, if we have a large group in here, there might be one person that she would know besides herself. But in the light of this, she came to me last night to show how interested she is. She handed me, we were at another gathering, and she came over to me and she kept waving the paper, the local paper, Dana Point News from last week. And she said, Nancy, have you read about the Dana Point surf? Well, to be honest, I've read the whole paper, but I don't quite read about sports. I watch it on television instead, I guess. But I think what garnered her original interest, it said, our surfing president. How many people saw this and read it? Okay, we had about 3 or 4 hands, but I went up. But our surfing president is about our former president, Obama, and he went surfing in Hawaii. But I thought it was interesting, they didn't allow him to surf as a president. He couldn't go into the water above his ankles because they couldn't see how they'd save him if something happened. But what I thought was really interesting as I read this article today, it said that Obama granted national monument status to a number of locations up and down the California coast right before he left office. Other natural treasures throughout the U.S., including Bears Ears in Utah. I'm not familiar with that. It's without the sensibility. This is the author who wrote this. It is my conviction that without the sensibility of a wave rider and their keen connection to the environment, he would not have protected all the territory he did. Taking hold of steps to protect the world for future generation is indeed a noble step. And so even though we were doing something else last night, she had to come and share this with me in case I hadn't read it. She has an understanding of all of the politics areas. But what really depicts Willa the most is her seriousness. Her seriousness describes Willa that she believes times are shifting. In the future, Willa believes we need to make a team. She hopes to see a community that is open to discussion. We must promote our democracy to make a difference because we don't see this anywhere in the world. And these are all quotes from her. Finally, Willa believes that people of like minds without money and force can make a difference. So with this grounded belief and with all her activism, I'd like all of us to welcome her and recognize Willa Porter as being constantly curious and continuous to make a difference for all of us. Thank you. And in addition to this being honoring Willa, it was her birthday 2 days ago. And I won't tell you the years.
86.
So she came in showing me, we have a birthday cake on the table for her, and she came in showing a card that she got. It says, birthday girl on the loose. And it's one of those musical ones, so you all have to hear it. This is
calling all cars. We have a birthday girl on the loose. Fun and party action in progress. Numerous perpetrators may be involved. The subject is to be considered charming and fabulous.
So, Willa, I'd like to turn this over to our president, and you just stay right up here with us, okay?
Before I do this, I wonder if you would like to introduce your guests today.
Yes, I have 3 guests that lived across the street from me for at least 25 years while my boys were growing up. Artie and Ben Chamness and their son, and kind of my son too, Jeff. And they're seated there at our table.
And Gail Kavner.
I got the card. And Gail Kavner, she's from Laguna.
And Bob.
Kathy Bartha, my friend from Dana Point.
Donna Kathy. A lot of people.
And Donna Kathy.
Bob.
Who else did I miss? Oh, my neighbors. Over here, 2 of my neighbors from Lauderdale. And the Harhays from San Clemente.
Chad.
And friends and greets.
Chad.
And Chad.
Love you.
Boy, I got lots of friends here tonight. Besides all my friends I already have from Dana Point, so. If I missed anybody, stand.
Okay. So Willa, we have a proclamation here for you, and it says, well, before I do that, we have some people who want to present you things, and Sergio is here from the 5th District, from Supervisor Bartlett.
How are you?
And
Thanks for coming.
Here.
so let me,
I don't need that.
okay.
So as Barbara said, I'm Sergio Prince. I'm here on behalf of Orange County Supervisor Lisa Bartlett. And when Barbara told me about this, I was so pleased to come down here, not just because of Willa and all the great things she's done, but because of Barbara is such an amazing person too. And this Historical Society, on behalf of Supervisor Bartlett, I want to thank you for agreeing to be the lead nonprofit for the Dana Point Harbor Time Capsule Celebration, and especially to Barbara and Elizabeth Lamatre for all the time and energy they put into that effort. This is an amazing group, and you're amazing people. And for you to be honoring Willa here is a great testimony. And so on behalf of Supervisor Bartlett, I want to offer our congratulations on the occasion of your receiving the Pat Plepler Citizenship Award from the Dana Point Historical Society. You are to be highly commended for your outstanding citizenship, community involvement, and grassroots volunteerism. So on behalf of Supervisor Bartlett, I'd like to present you with this plaque. I will be happy to.
She's so busy.
Well, she is so busy, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
And then Willa, from the California Legislature, the California State Assembly, presented to Willa Porter the Dana Point Pat Plepler Award. Congratulations on being recognized as an outstanding member of the City of Dana Point. You are to be commended for your many hours of community service, which include working with the Dana Point Chamber of Commerce and the Historical Society. Your hard work and dedication to the city is extremely appreciated and admired, and it's signed William P. Breaux, Assemblyman, 73rd District, and this date, January 25th, 2017. And then, just in case you forget everything Nancy just said, we have a proclamation here. Willa Porter, recipient of the Pat Plepler Citizenship Award. I am not going to read all these whereases, of which there are 6, because you've just heard them and it's a review, but Willa will get to have a summary of everything, well, almost everything Nancy just said. I think the birthday card isn't in here. And then at the end it says, now therefore resolved by the Board of Directors and members of the Dana Point Historical Society that Willa Porter be presented the 2017 Pat Plepler Citizenship Award in recognition of her active participation in our community, dated this 25th day of January 2017, and my signature.
Thank you very much. And I remember Pat, and I'm sure that she would be very proud that her family is keeping her memory alive by keeping activity within the community and our pride in it too. So.
And to that effect, the Pat Plepler family established the award in her memory and gave an amount of money so that this award could be presented each year. We have a number of people in this room who have received it. Wayne Rayfield is here. I don't think Jim Miller is here. Terry Walsh is here. And who else? Dick is here, Dick Dietmeyer, yes. And of course Nancy herself is here. So we have some recipients, and because they're very, very active people and volunteers in our community. Willa, we appreciate you, and there is your award. So enjoy, and these are your proclamations to keep. And would you like to say anything else to this assembly of your friends?
Well, I don't know, I'm really proud, and I have never, I guess I have been helpful and active, but it's only because it's so much fun to be with your friends who are always active and doing things together too, like all of you here. So thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun, and even though I've had 86 birthdays, I think it keeps me young to be hanging out with this gang and all the things that I want to do.
I'd like to thank all of you for being here this evening to honor Willa and to make us official with our annual meeting. Please don't forget a calendar. If you'd like the DVD of the Harbor celebration, let us know. And Willa, you may want to pose with some photos. I think it would be neat if you had a photo with the mayor and the Mayor Pro Tem up here. What do you think? Can we take that photo? And so let's do some photos too. And if you want anybody else in a picture, to have that done too. So let's get the mayor up here first and the Mayor Pro Tem.
Barbara, tell them to take their dishes home.
Oh yes, thank you, Sandy. I want to thank Sandy Iverson. Just reminded me that we often go off without our dishes, so please don't do that. And I want to thank Sandy and Marcia and Lee and everybody who helped get the dinner organized and together, and Max Brown for organizing the beverages. Thank you so much for the committee.